Every bad guy in that show could have been Batman. And
just went the wrong way.
What about Calendar Man?
I was actually going to mention Calendar Man. I'm not even joking.
Speak of the Calendar Man.
This is it, the final show standing in our bracket of excellent cartoons that debuted in the 90s. Today, Austin Hargrave, Barry Kramer, Alex Faciane, and Shane Gill join me, Forrest Lee, as we decide who stands above the rest. It's Batman the Animated Series and Hey Arnold, and this is Madness. Welcome to the finale of Madness on 90s cartoons. Today is a bit of a weird matchup and an interesting one.
Not just any matchup.
It's the matchup.
The
final
matchup.
The final matchup.
Yeah.
Batman the Animated Series versus Hey Arnold.
How did we get here?
What the fuck? All the different shows that have fallen, man.
First of all,
really
just be honest. Who saw this one coming?
I thought Hey Arnold could make it to the final.
I knew Batman would be here. I had no idea who else was going to be here.
My initial thoughts were maybe SpongeBob and Powerpuff Girls, but then they ended up fighting each other. So.
Yeah. Two titans taking each other down.
Yeah, and I didn't know much about Batman until I watched it and realized it was actually pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, an interesting thing I'm kind of thinking about right now. They both take place in like inner cities, and ironically, Hey Arnold takes on like more mature themes in a more lighthearted, brighter way than Batman, which is the darker show about punching people.
Mm-hmm. Batman takes on themes that are of no concern to children.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's plenty of mature themes that Batman takes on.
I mean, I'd be concerned about the Mad Bomber if he was around. Like, I kind of am anyway.
Right. But it takes
actually pretty relevant.
The drama is more about each individual rather than like a more broad like anxiety or depression or loss or something like that.
And it also has like almost like a fairy tale element to it. Like because it is a noir show overall, it has a sort of way of telling stories that it needs to kind of stick to that keep it from touching on a lot of this stuff in as direct a way as like, let's just make a kid and just like have this shit happen to him. You know what I mean? With Batman, you kind of, when they do touch stuff like that, they kind of have to shoehorn it in, and it's such a comic booky show that it's like comparing somebody who's sick in Hey Arnold to Mr. Freeze's wife. It's like
Batman's a lot more about the relationships between adults than Hey Arnold. Like clearly,
it's not about a kid's perspective at all.
No.
Are there even kids in Batman?
Yeah. Robin's a kid. Barbara Gordon
is a kid.
Well,
Robin's pretty.
They do kind of like a fast forward where he's like a teenager. Like when
he becomes Nightwing, but he also recruits another Robin.
Oh, okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's Dick Grayson at first, and then Jason Todd, I think.
Which is crazy.
Yeah,
because Jason Todd is the one who gets murdered by the Joker.
So, do you guys think that there's a chance that Batman the Animated Series and Hey Arnold are in the same universe?
Ooh, they're both a part of the characters in a city genre.
They're both inspired.
Pigeon Man is just Batman.
They're both inspired by Manhattan.
That's true.
But Pigeon Man is Batman, but which one's reality?
That's true. Which one is reality? That's
because they're both crazy.
Are you trying to say that Batman commits suicide?
Oh my god!
If you think about it, being Batman is like a slow version of committing suicide.
Well, he's just waiting.
He's not going to be like,
I can't watch you kill yourself, Mr. White.
I beat crime.
He jumped off that clock tower thing in that one episode of the Dream episode.
Parallels, you're talking, they both take place in a New York-esque place.
It's like the same show.
Shane just said that.
Yeah, they both. They both give you. They both give you a good sense of that city in a real way.
The central character is very bold.
They do both give you a sense of like that New York vibe, but completely different.
Yeah.
Like
one is like the real vibe of actually what it's like to be there, and the other one is
the other one is Hey Arnold.
Hey,
here's something random. Do you guys like the character design in Hey Arnold? Because when I was a kid, I hated it, but now I actually don't mind it so much. I like that they all have different weird heads.
I agree that I did not like it and have warmed up to it more.
Yeah.
Looking
I'm in
back,
the same boat.
Looking back, they've kind of switched places. Like I, admittedly, am not the biggest fan of the kind of like odd-looking '90s cartoon vibe. Looking at Batman the Animated Series in the context of the time when there wasn't animation that looked like that, it's also a very striking style. And now that time has passed, looking back at the Batman cartoon, I'm more bored by that style because of how many cartoons there are after it that have exactly copied that look. But, on the flip side of that, looking at Batman without the context of all those other cartoons, what a freaking look it is.
There's a clip that I saw from when Batman's fighting Clayface, and Clayface is freaking out and switching between a bunch of different forms. It's like almost as good as Akira.
It's on the level.
It's like actually like I was looking at some of these custom, like, yeah, like it looks a little janky. It's like 90s hand-drawn animation. Some of the sequences, I was like, holy crap, I did not remember how good this show was at times.
That's what I was trying to...
It's actually staggering how amazing that is.
That's what I was trying to get across in the last... when we were talking about it, it's just like... trying to compare the animation from almost any show, like even just the opening credits when he does the thing where he lands on the roof and his stuff comes down and he takes that guy out. Like, they don't show him punching the guy. They just flash white and the guy's like...
It's like, I'll give props to shows like SpongeBob for looking good, but I don't think a single other show on this bracket comes close to touching Batman.
The art direction.
I have to agree. Honestly,
I mean, X-Men's got, sometimes people's
if
costumes
those
are the wrong
animators had
color,
a couple more fingers.
This episode, Wolverine's pink because we forgot what palette he's supposed to be. It's just fine.
Yeah, I think that if we're just talking purely about production value, I think Batman...
It's not fair.
Yeah.
How much... looking at that animation, I can't imagine how much money they had to dump into
They had Danny
that.
Elfman money.
Yeah.
During prime Elfman.
I just connected in my brain. He probably did that because he did the Tim Burton Batman stuff. That makes complete sense.
He was the Hans Zimmer of the 90s.
Yeah.
But Hans Zimmer was also the Hans Zimmer of the 90s. I don't know.
I was going to say the production value isn't just animation. I was like, oh wait, the music is really good too.
Yeah,
and the voice acting, which we talked about before, but it's
defines
still
Batman beyond the show.
For our generation, we're like, yep, Kevin Conroy.
Yeah, and the proof is in the pudding. Like, it's not just us guys at the table who think that. That's like the prevailing...
I heard you guys talking about it off camera last time, but like the fact that they went and got Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill to go and do the Arkham games,
it says a lot that they...
I think we talked about it off camera, like you were saying. But yeah, I was like, I remember hearing the news because no one expected Arkham Asylum to be that good.
Yeah,
and so it's like they're making a new Batman game. It's like, all right, licensed games are usually kind of crappy, and we're bringing back the voices from the animated series. And I was like, that just feels like nostalgia bait. Like, hey, we're gonna pull out Kevin Conroy. Remember him? And then the moment I started playing it, I was like, it's Batman.
Yeah.
It just everything fell into place, and it was good.
Ironically, the animated series skin looks like shit.
that style does not. It's like trying to do Wind Waker style Zelda characters in like.
Unreal
I thought the Batman Beyond skin was actually okay. Though.
Yeah, it works because
it worked a little better.
It's just because he's all black.
Yeah. It's
This guy,
triangleized.
dude, you know what
As
I mean?
opposed to what was at Arkham Knight, which is like, oh, we're not killing people by running them over with the Batmobile.
Technically,
we're shocking
Batman's
them.
not using the guns because they're on his car. Yeah.
Well, they were very good at playing with the tropes to just set up like, here's the stakes, here's the chess pieces, now go. You weren't like, wait, who are the bad guys here? It's like, it's always obvious.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
Just what are they doing with the bad guys?
It's just crazy because typically when you think of Batman and what defines him separate from Superman or Spider-Man or Iron Man is that like, it's the one where it's like scary, things get messed up. It's the dark one. Like a dude will just get shot, and that'll be like a thing that happens. Like there'll just be like a bloody body in the story. You know what I mean? Like that's Batman. You know what I mean? He's a detective.
He's inspired by the noir. Like he picked up the noir stuff that was popular in the 50s.
It's hard boiled. It's hard boiled. It's so rich that it created a whole new flavor of Batman that most people prefer to the original.
I feel really bad on this matchup just because of how biased I am. Because when I have a massive fascination with the 20th century as an entire
You love Americana?
unit. I love Americana, and when I think of like the most Americana thing, I'm thinking about a Bruce Wayne looking motherfucker in his black pants and a gray turtleneck walking around a big ass mansion. It's not fair, and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not apologizing for Arthur. You shouldn't apologize for Batman, Lee.
It's true.
Thank you.
Two titans of animation.
Exactly.
But
The Citizen Kanes of animation.
But by going so hard into style, but because of that, it does separate the show from reality, which I feel like is where Hey Arnold has an edge.
You know what? If you don't like that style, it is really unappealing.
Yeah.
Like, the look of Batman, like
It's very dark and muddy.
I think objectively we can say it is a very bold, stylistic good-looking show. But if you're not into that,
if you're not into quality,
oh, well, I mean, I'm not really that into dark cartoons, but I think Batman is slick as hell, and I really enjoy it.
Well, thank you.
I mean, I like Arthur and
making my vote easier when that happens.
Right. Because again, it is dark, but it's not like emotionless dread dark. It's just like this. It's a seedy world, and he's trying to find his way through it or whatever.
But it's not relatable to the average person.
That's
you're not.
It's more of an escape fantasy.
Even like people who live in a big city, like both of these take place, and they probably look at Hey Arnold more and are like, okay, that's like we joked earlier, but that's closer to reality.
Yeah. And I think if we're talking about, we just talked about the ways that Batman clearly edges out Hey Arnold. And I think this is the way that Hey Arnold clearly edges out Batman, which is that as a show that you watch and you're a kid and it's after school, like this is a show that speaks to you on a different level than Batman does. Batman
can connect to it.
Yeah, Batman is pulp at a high level. It's like intellectual pulp. Hey Arnold is Huckleberry Finn. It's like fables. It's stories we tell about ourselves to help ourselves understand ourselves better.
Isn't that interesting and ironic? Because I know a lot of people in the academic community look at superheroes like, oh, they're the modern myth. But stuff like Hey Arnold is like...
Hey Arnold's like the modern...
It's closer to the early Mark Twain stuff that you were talking about.
Yeah, Hey Arnold's like the modern, like...
It's more like Aesop's fables than like really a myth.
Yeah, it's less Zeus.
Not a myth.
It's less Zeus and more...
It's folklore instead of mythology.
Yeah, exactly.
Only on this show can we make this.
Grimm?
Yeah.
Only on this show
a little adventure.
Comparison.
Yeah,
I think a myth is more like foundational to culture.
Humans matter to the story. Human emotion and human vulnerability matter to the story. Batman doesn't lose. Hey Arnold loses almost every time. You know what I mean? Like that's the key difference. Like Batman, you're not worried that Batman's gonna die in the show, but you are worried that Arnold's gonna get his heart broken. You know what I mean?
Which he does.
Which he does a lot. Yeah. Or he's gonna get beat up.
You worry about Batman. You're like, well, how is he gonna get out of this one? You're not like he's gonna die in this room. It's just like how did he get in this circumstance? And he's got to find his way out. And it looks like there's no way out.
And sometimes, like that Robin thing, he doesn't get out of it.
That's it's crazy that either show will leave you on a down note, but both do. And that's really, I think, the thing that's really interesting about these shows, and probably why they're both here at the end, is that they both are not afraid to leave you on like a note other than like.
I think that just speaks to us not being kids anymore.
It does, but I mean, who was watching these shows, right? Like, I was 10 when
I feel like if we had this conversation when we were kids in the 90s, it would not be these two.
I can hardly bear to look at them.
One point you made, just something you said made me think of something. If you did come home, like from a day of school, you like got all these ideas and all this knowledge floating around in your head, you just walked home, you're kind of tired, you sit down in front of TV. I think Hey Arnold's like the better show to just like sit down and cool down and
Batman is kind of some stress.
Yeah. Well,
I definitely enjoy a show. I definitely enjoy a show where you can just sit down and chill with it. Batman's not really that.
My thing though, when I was a kid, was that I was pretty brainy, pretty like nerd. Like know-it-all in class. I felt like a lot of the kids who I could have hung out with didn't really want me to come over to them a lot of the time. And so when I was a kid, like the thing that I would do is I would walk past the store on my way home and grab a comic book. And the reason that I like comic books so much and the reason I like Batman so much is because it was something that didn't remind me of my life. Like it was like a good guy, he does his job, he wins, the bad guy gets dunked. Arnold is like this like therapy session for you to like kind of like look at yourself without having yourself have to be in the story. Batman is therapy in the other way, like where jumping out of an airplane is
it's therapy. Escapism instead of decompression.
Exactly. And to me, like I'm not going to compare their value because I think they're literally equally important to a human's life. To me, my choice after school always was Batman.
Yeah, it is weird that it's like you do have these like two sides that you need. It's the escapism and the reflection. But I feel like if I was gonna sit down and gonna watch either, I think I would probably kind of watch Hey Arnold, like what you were saying, that like I think I would get tired of Batman after a couple episodes. I don't think it's a bingeable show in the same way that Hey Arnold might be, because it's like
every episode's different.
What
character are we going to talk about this time, as opposed to Batman?
Which is like, who's Batman going to beat up this time?
Yeah,
and it's so well done. You don't even care that it's really that simple once you get down to the heart of it. But with Hey Arnold, you get there's some meat on those bones, and there's something for you to chew on once you're done. And I think that's really valuable.
It is,
and it's like the same kind of argument I've been having over the entire season, that like I'm trying to figure out, well, what I like better isn't necessarily what I think the better show is.
Yeah, like
And I just
definitely
keep
like the
going back and
message, the
forth.
message and purpose of Hey Arnold may be higher too in your own brain than Batman's.
But Batman's so good though. It's just like
yeah, it's
I don't
crazy.
know.
I mean, you said Hey Arnold's kind of like the therapy session, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, in a similar way, Batman really does explore like the human condition and like every villain kind of represents like a flaw in the mind that someone has. Like
That's true.
Every bad guy in that show could have been Batman. And like
just went the wrong way.
What about Calendar Man?
I was actually going to mention Calendar Man. I'm not even joking.
Speak of the Calendar Man.
I was going to say like even Z-list villains in this rogue gallery, like Calendar Man, he like represents obsession.
Yeah.
It's
Like
just like
OCD,
every villain
Just like
represents
Helga.
something.
Just like Helga.
Helga's the Calendar Man of the Arnold universe.
Keeping track of the days.
Can you imagine if Calendar Man was a main recurring villain?
Well, it's just
wish.
so. I would be in, dude. I would be in. He could do like you could do some cool serial killer stuff with Calendar Man.
Oh yeah, they could give him like an Aquaman reboot.
Yeah.
Be super edgy and dark.
Man.
Yeah.
Get Jason Momoa to play him.
Your time's up.
It's great not having school. We could play baseball, go swimming, and just plain lay around.
This is not like when you guys did Mario and Zelda last time, where you're choosing.
Whoa! Spoilers.
This is like we're gonna what? It's more like Mario versus like baseball.
What's the better game?
Yeah, like I don't know.
I like that a lot.
And this is so much like just because they both came on a TV doesn't really mean that much about them, and you really just have to look at. I think right now we are very clear on like what these shows are trying to do.
And they both do them so well.
But which show does the thing that they're trying to do better?
Or just
Well,
how do you boil it down?
That's an interesting question, and one we should answer perhaps with a vote.
Batman is my vote. Batman.
Okay.
I'm not going to think about it for 1 second. Batman the Animated Series, the best cartoon of all time. Lock it in.
Okay, Alex's vote is Batman.
Don't look at me.
Don't look. I'm.
Okay, then I'll go. It's got to be Batman. Props to Hey Arnold for like
No doubt.
Just talking about it through this bracket's made me appreciate Hey Arnold a lot more.
Baseball's a wonderful sport.
and it's like I have that appreciation and respect for it, but Batman.
It's Batman.
I think I'm somehow going against the. You can complain about it in the comments. I'm going against my own logic that I've been using for most of the votes. I'd rather watch Hey Arnold, but I'm still going to vote for Batman on this one. It's such an impressive show.
It's the better.
Danny Elfman did the music. I mean, I'm just going to vote for Batman. I'm not going to think much further about it than that. Even though I actually, personally, Hey Arnold's way more up my alley. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go with Batman.
I'm in a very similar boat, my friends. I think the brain is saying Hey Arnold, and then the child in me is like Batman.
The heart's saying Hey Arnold, the brain's saying Batman.
The cranium is saying Batman.
Everything is saying Batman.
Cranium.
But Hey Arnold has so much heart, and it does it so well, and I adore it, and it should be flung out into space. But also Batman.
It can hitch a ride on the Batman rocket.
Yeah.
The Bat Rocket.
Yeah.
Bat Rocket. I gotta go with Batman at the end of the day.
Boom.
I mean, do I even really have to?
You already voted when you got here today.
You should. You flipped us your Hey Arnold football pin, so we know what you're going for.
We know which one's closer
Extra
to
in
your
the
heart.
animated. No, it's Batman.
It's Magic School Bus, is what it is, at the end of the day. Magic School Bus is the best show of the 90s.
Well, it's 3-2, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Batman is. It's almost unfair how fucking good that show is. I didn't really have with the last bracket we did. I did not have a hill to die on, and I would die for Batman.
And he would die for you.
I probably would have voted for Batman over Arthur, even if it was in the final for some reason.
That would be awesome.
Because it's the best show ever
It's just
made.
so, and this is the only show. Oh, I guess X-Men. I hadn't seen much of that, But Batman was the only show I for sure hadn't seen any of at all. And I watched some of it.
Even just from those like 3 episodes we watched.
No, I watched some more before we got there, yeah. But it was just like, it was super impressive. I want to watch more. I wouldn't binge it probably, but I'll watch like a couple episodes at a time.
Like savor it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's like a piece of cake. Just like
there's only so many.
Bite every now and
Just
then.
have a little bit at a time.
Yeah.
And if you run out of episodes, like 10 years ago, Paul Dini wrote a bunch of detective comics, and you can check them out, and they're all just like the animated series. Go check them out.
And then watch Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
On
the movie.
The movie.
Check it out.
And play Arkham.
Who do you think should have won the finale of the 90s cartoons madness? Let us know down in the comments below. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe as we have a couple more surprises coming your way before the next season gets started.